Alright, in this fourth video of the tutorial on how to make those magnets, refrigerator magnets that are 2.5 by 3.5 squares, we're going to learn how to shellac them. So if you watched my second video, we ended it with creating those square 2.5 by 3.5, they're not square, they're rectangle, 3.5 by 2.5 sale size magnets, and this is the series of 4 magnets that I made. Okay, I like to make them in series of 3, 4, or 5. I think it's nice to have a few. So these are all done. I'm going to show you now how to add magnets to them. And this one is done already. You can see the back side. I have 4 magnets on each side. These are already done. And we're going to add a magnet to this one. So I cut from hard paper. And this is actually an acrylic paper, heavy paper. It's 185, as you can see. I use it for watercolor and other things, and I like it because it's heavy but it's still flexible, and I can still use a puncher to punch it. So I cut 2.5 by 3.5 inch size paper that will match for the back side of it, as you can see. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 4 even dots on each corner of the square, and I'm using a stencil or a template you might want to add. It's just a square that I cut, a rectangle that I cut. This way, when I'm doing the set, it'll be nice and even. It's just faster this way, so I don't have to measure each and every one. I just place it in the middle and I mark 4 dots on each corner. Here are my 4 dots. And I take my punch. It's a 1/2 inch punch. I use the 1/2 inch because this is the size earth magnets that I have. I see to it that the dot is in the center and I punch. If you don't have a punch, that's okay. You can use scissors, you can use a knife. It'll just take you a little longer and, you know, a little bit more effort to make it nice and even. This is a pretty fast way for me to do it. If you really don't, you know, you also can put the magnets on the outside so that they'll be a little raised. You know, it doesn't have to have a punch, but when I do a punch, it creates a little hole here, and this way the magnet sits nice and even inside, so it's not very raised. So now I have my 4 punches done. I'm going to take a black marker. It's just a regular staple brand black marker. It just have a broad tip to it. And I'm going to paint the edges. Add the little frame. It's done. And I am going to glue it to the back. For the back side of it, you can be a little bit more generous with glue, as you have in the other piece of paper, because first of all, this paper that I'm using is a bit more porous, and second, you know, it's 2 thick pieces of paper together. It's perfectly okay. So I'm just going to be a little bit more generous with my glue, and when I spread it, I'm not going to just wipe it all out. You know, it's fine. Make sure it's nice and even, also around the holes. I don't want any raised areas. You see how it's starting to curl? That's what happened when you use glue on a porous paper. It just drinks the glue and it curls up. Okay. And put it on the back. I put my clips there. You know what, my paper is just, it's a little bit too wide, and I don't like that it's a little too wide. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I don't like edges sticking out. Okay. Let's get the magnets out. These are my magnets. I'm going to prepare 4. You just have to place them in distant from each other. Let's say I put one here and one here, because if you get them close, watch. See? Whoop, they're done. Okay. And I'm going to put the glue in there. It's the tail end of it. I may not have enough, so I'll just, let me see. Hopefully I do. If not, I have to open a new tube of glue. Okay, let me see if I can squeeze just a little bit more. And I think we did just enough. Okay. 1. 2. 3. 4. They're very strong, the earth magnets. They're really, really super strong. And this is a tiny one. If you get them thicker or bigger, they're very, very, very strong. I like to use the 4 little ones for the big 2.5 by 3.5. If you use smaller ones, you can just put one or two, or you can just put one big one in the center. It's really up to you how you like to do it. Okay. Okay, so the magnets are done. Let's cover them with resin. So to cover them with resin, I put the whiteboard back here, if you noticed, because I don't want any of the resin to get on my workspace. This one, I can just take it and throw it away. I'm going to take wax paper. Put some wax paper down. I'm actually going to put I'm going to cut 2 parts of wax paper because, you know, sometimes when I work, one of them gets really dirty and I want it to sit on a clean piece of paper. So I'm just going to prepare another for when I need it. Okay. Put my gloves on. Always put gloves on, otherwise your hand will be so sticky and you will not be able to remove it. It's just really difficult to remove it. Okay. The resin that I'm using is 2-part that you mix together. One is the resin itself and one is the hardener, and you put 2 even parts into a plastic cup. You have a mixing stick. I have a little paper plate here that I use to lay my cup on or my stick on, and any type of 2-part resin will be good. You know, you can try different ones to see which one doesn't bubble. This one is Envirotex. It's okay. It still bubbles. I'm not that crazy about it, but it's not bad. I buy whatever is on sale, to be honest, because it's really expensive. Okay, so I am going to pour. Let me move this away for a second, because it's a little difficult to take a picture of it, me doing it. You can use a measuring cup, or you can eye it. It's really up to you. I usually just eye it because I'm doing it so many times that I know the quantity. And mix it. You have to mix it real well for about 2 minutes. Just stir it for about 2 minutes. Make sure you get everything from the bottom too, not just the top, all the way around. The hardest thing with working with resin, I found, is the bubbles. Try and avoid the bubbles, and try to avoid accumulation of too much resin in one area and less in another. It's really just have to be patient and work with experience. Read the manufacturers. instructions. Resin is very sensitive to room temperatures. So I think the ideal for working with resin is 72, 71 at room temperature. And then I just use a heat gun after I put it in there for a little bit to just kind of move it around and try to get rid of the bubbles. I also spread it with my fingers a little bit with my glove. Okay, I think that should be enough. Okay. See, the color becomes a little bit more consistent and all these bubbles in there. Okay. Sometimes I will leave it in the cup to let the bubbles sort of disappear before I use it on the actual piece. But because we're doing a demonstration now, I'm not gonna do it, you know. But if you leave the cup in, you'll see how the bubbles come out. They'll come up a little bit. Okay. And I'm gonna start by I have 4 equal pieces, so I'm just going to pour the resin evenly, and I'm going to do it slowly, a little bit on the top and on the sides, in the middle right there. There you go. Now what happens is when you use resin, the color will all of a sudden change and it will become dark because paper is porous and it will absorb it. With my fingers, I'm just going to spread it all around. A little piece of the paper came out, you see. I'm just going to stick it back on. It's okay, it happened with the little tiny pieces. Sometimes they just don't have enough glue in there, so they'll pop up. Sometimes those pieces of paper on the other side are too, how shall I say it? It's not really porous, like plasticky, so the glue doesn't really adhere very well. That's why I use different kind of glue for those pieces of paper. So just make sure that you're not going to end up with little bits of pieces of paper that are missing. I'm shaking it just to make sure that it goes where it needs to go. See over here? There's still areas that I didn't get resin into because it's a 3D, it's three-dimensional, you know, it's sunk in. It's okay, we're gonna get it the second time around. See how it changes the color? See over here the white doesn't have resin on it, and over here it does. Makes everything deeper, like richer. The vibrant colors become a little bit more muted. See over here, you can see. Okay. I'm going to go over it a second time. And this time I'm just going to put it around where around here where, you know, it's sunk in. Okay. Now I'm going to go over and put it in the areas here. I think one of them fell there. I can see it already. Okay. It's a little piece that I lost. Where did I lose it from? I don't know. I can't see where I lost it. Oh, here we go, over here. I'm just gonna go over it with a stick just to see if I can get rid of the bubbles that I have. And from now on until I would say for the next couple hours, I'm gonna have to watch it and take care of the bubbles. Also make sure you don't have hairs and things stuck in there. So you got to make sure you work clean when you're dealing with resin, because it attracts every little speck of dust, and of course you cannot remove it. This one can use a little more. After you put it together, you have to put it away somewhere where nobody can touch it. It will require a good 24 to 48 hours to set, and I would even say a few good days until it's 100% dry. Okay, I'm going to take my heat gun, use it a little bit, and put my glove away. Okay. Again, you don't have to use a heat gun. You don't have to if you don't have it. You can blow on it. You can use a little hair dryer on low setting. Don't put a lot of hot air for a long time, because then you will bubble. I'm using it from the distance, not too close, as you can see. If I put it too close, it will move the resin into areas that, you know, may not make it even. And that's it. Just keep watching it for the next few hours. Make sure that if you see bubbles come up, pop them, take care of them. You can use the heat gun a little bit more. I just used it a little bit right now, and put it away and let it dry, and it's done. Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye.